Hi, I'm Greg from Second Thoughts East Yorkshire. We are an independent local charity promoting good mental health across the county of the East Riding of Yorkshire. And today I'm going to talk about managing overwhelming tasks. Do you have so much to do that it's become overpowering? Sometimes, particularly when our mood's low, even the thought of starting a big job can be really daunting. And sometimes this can be the case with relatively small tasks too, like cooking a meal, for example. When you start to think about doing it, a feeling of dread rises up and engulfs you. The end result is, well, you just put the whole thing off and never start it. And then you start to beat yourself up for not doing the job, and you feel guilty. And when all that kicks in, you just end up feeling pretty miserable, right? Well, the good news is that there is a way to manage it. There's a process that you can use to make it more achievable, if you like, or more readily achievable. And it makes the task become more doable. Have you ever seen this cartoon? How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. It's a silly cartoon, but one with an important message. However big a challenge is, it can be achieved by breaking it down into bite-sized chunks. There's a form that you can use to break the component parts down for any task that you want to do, however big and daunting it may seem at first. It's called a Gantt chart. You may have heard of it before. This is Henry Gantt, the man who the chart's named after. He was an American engineer and project management consultant, and he was around in the early part of the 20th century. Gantt was an important figure in building the Hoover Dam and the American interstate highway system. And the charts were also used to help plan the manufacturing of Navy warships during the First World War. Most of us aren't planning to build a Hoover Dam, although my wife's plans for the gardens aren't that far off, to be honest. Seriously though, for most of us, the overwhelming tasks we face may be things like tidying the garden, clearing out the shed, the garage or the loft, or maybe decorating a room. I'm going to show you a Gantt chart that I've prepared for decorating a room. Now, when you think about decorating a room, the thought's overwhelming, isn't it? You think, oh my God, it's going to be a total mess. There'll be stuff all over the place. It'll be overwhelming. I won't get it finished. Every night I'll be absolutely worn out. And the whole thing seems so daunting that perhaps you'll never even start it. So this is the Gantt chart. Along the top, you'll see a timeline. And in this case, I've used weeks. Now, it could be hours if it's quite a small task. If it was tidying the shed, for example, it might be hours. It could be half days if the chore is medium-sized. So perhaps if you're sorting out a big loft that's going to take you 2 or 3 days, you could do it in half-day chunks. Or it could be days if it's quite big, or possibly even years if it's a huge task, like renovating a big building, for example. In this case, I've done a chart showing 8 weeks. Although the overall decorating job I'm using as an example is only scheduled to run over 4 weeks. Down the left-hand side, all of the tasks are listed. So the tasks are rubbing down the paintwork on the doors and the skirting board, emulsioning the ceiling, emulsioning the walls, and then glossing the doors and the skirting. So for week 1, the task is to rub down the paintwork on the doors and the skirting board, just to sand them down. Week 2, the task is to emulsion the ceiling and get that done. Week 3 is the task of emulsioning the walls. And then finally, week 4 is glossing the doors and the skirting. You'll see I've shaded some of the blocks to make it easier to see the deadlines, as it were. Now, planning it this way means that it becomes less frightening, it's less overwhelming, because it's a doable task that's time controlled. So to take a week over cleaning the gloss paintwork before you even start decorating is reasonable, and it's doable, and it won't make you tired out because you can do a little bit each day. For many people, They may want to get the thing over and done with quicker. And that's fine too, if it suits them. To do that, you need to muster the enthusiasm to do the job, the energy to be able to manage to do it, and the resources to complete it. You need to have the materials, which could be expensive, and you need to have things like brushes, sandpaper, and so on. Not everyone has that. Overdoing things can result in exhaustion too, and your mood can hit rock bottom because you feel physically poorly. I'll pop the chart up again at the end of the video so you can see it again. And I'll also put a blank chart that you can adapt to suit any task that you're considering doing. You can print off as many as you like, or even design your own. And remember, along the top, you decide on the time scale, so it could be hours, weeks, months, whatever job you're doing, that'll vary. Remember that you don't have to complete every chore that you have all at once. Pace yourself accordingly and you'll manage much better. I hope you found this video useful and the charts useful. Please leave me some feedback too. It's really important to have your views and indeed any suggestions. If there's any subject that you'd like me to cover, please let me know. I'll be more than happy to do that. I'll be posting more videos over the next few weeks. But in the meantime, stay safe, take care, and good mental health. Bye.